thank God. One of the things I thank God for was I went out of my way and we still got married. He did not want us to get married because he was not looking like the son-in-law he wanted. He had
and they
no
look
car.
at money though, right? It's about money, right?
Absolutely. He had no car.
Yeah.
His family, there was...
The first time I visited him, I was just dressing simple, palm slippers,
yes.
To commercial vehicle, So he kept asking, so where are you from? Who is notable in your family?
Yeah, it's all about notability.
Nobody.
No notable person, no money, nothing.
You ain't got nobody in your family that's successful.
Even the job, where do you work? I said, I own my business. So what do you do? I said, digital marketing. And this was, nobody knew what digital marketing was, just beginning. So he was like, this one isn't responsible. He can't afford to take care of you, and for him, it was a no-no.
Dear Future Wifey.
Okay, scripturally, the Bible says your Father has already designed and purposed you.
I experienced an invitation of God this morning.
So you got to become an elite decision maker.
Elite decision maker.
He said, because you are one fleshly decision away from losing it all.
Etched in my mind is what true submission to Christ looks like.
I gotta maintain that secret connection I have with God.
I'm so full and don't want to belabor this letter.
And I understand how important it is for men to disciple men, because if I didn't have that, I wouldn't be where I am today.
I've traded worldly pleasures to live a God-centered life.
The encounter I just had, I just need to rest in it.
Help us to be considerate, creative, and courageous lovers.
I love you. Your future hubby. Welcome to the Dear Future Wifey Podcast. I'm your host, Lateris R. Whitfield. Listen, are you still shacking up with us? If you're still shacking up with us, can we get a commitment? Hit that subscription button and subscribe. Make sure you turn on your notification bell so you'll be notified about upcoming episodes. Listen, we are off to an amazing start with season 9 of the Dear Future Wifey Podcast, and I've been reading all your DMs, seeing your comments on the channel, and y'all are finding so much value in what the guests have to offer. If you haven't already, I want you to subscribe to our mailing list, sign up right now. The link is in the description, and make sure that you sign up for our Patreon at patreon.com/Lateris R. Whitfield. Listen, today we decided to cross over the waters. We're all the way in Nigeria. We're actually still in Dallas, Texas, but we got some people that represent Nigeria very well. Without further ado, I know y'all follow them. This brother got almost 1 million followers on Instagram. So without further ado, I'm introducing him to some, and for others, hopefully y'all see a different side of him and his lovely wife. Welcome to the Dear Future Wifey Podcast, my homie, Bisi Akintayo and Bisi Akintayo.
Thank you.
How y'all doing? Did I say it right, King?
Good.
Is it Akintayo? Did I say it right, Steven?
You tried.
I tried. Tell me how to say it.
Akintayo.
Akintayo.
Yeah,
Akintayo. He told me to say it like I'm
bring it to
saying.
Nigeria.
He actually did well.
Yeah, he did.
Akintayo.
Yes.
Absolutely.
He said, he told me, he tried to teach me to say it like I'm singing. Akintayo. Akintayo.
Yes.
I love that. Listen, y'all are from Nigeria, right?
Yep.
Are
Absolutely.
you born and raised?
Absolutely.
How do you feel living in the United States, Bisi?
It's amazing.
Amazing.
Beautiful.
It's beautiful.
Lovely.
It's lovely. How long have y'all been married, Stephen?
We've been married 12 years now. Yep. And by the way, this is the first podcast I think the two of us would do together on another person's platform.
Absolutely.
We've interviewed each other, but
Never been interviewed.
yeah, people have always wanted us, but I know she's a bit shy.
Are you shy? Are you shy in front of the camera, but off camera you're a whole totally different person? Let me ask Stephen that. Is it?
Kind of.
I'm not sure. I mean, she's learning to be on camera in recent time, but I think conversation around marriage, she's a bit coming into that a bit.
Is it something you don't like talking about? Is marriage?
Okay, I love to talk about marriage, but I think off camera I don't talk about it. On camera I've not really. No, off camera I talk about it, but on camera I've not really, because I tell people that I try not to talk about marriage on camera because our templates are different, and I don't want you to use my templates. And at the end of the day, I used that template and it didn't work for me, because everyone's template is always different, and you just have to pick one or two things. You can apply it. It might work. It may not work, but you have to create your template.
I love that you said that. And when I bring people on the podcast, it's not that I want people to try to mirror someone else's template. It's that the Bible says if you confess your faults one to another so that you may be healed. And it also says that people will be overcome by the word of your testimony and by the blood of the Lamb. So just by sharing your testimony, people go, she has no idea I'm dealing with that right now. He has no idea that I'm dealing with that right now. And so God will use you to speak into a life that you haven't even spoken to. And so that's why I realized that God has brought y'all for such a time as this to do something that your mind can't even imagine. People are going to be DMing you saying, woman of God, you helped me so much. You be like, I was just talking. They're like, you have no idea what you said. And so that's why I'm so elated. First of all, thank you for stepping outside of your comfort zone to even come on the Dear Future Wifey podcast and share. As I was telling your husband, Dear Future Wifey podcast is one of the biggest relationship podcasts in Nigeria. And so I think that this is not just by happenstance, but y'all are on special assignment.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
So thank you so much for being here. So Stephen, how'd y'all meet?
So we met. There are two versions.
Okay,
There's my version and her version,
And then there's the truth. There's three versions.
No, both are true, just from different angles.
Yeah.
Okay.
So do I start my version?
Don't worry, go ahead.
So my version is we both met on campus. I happened to be a pastor on campus and, one of the leaders. And at some point, I used to notice, I was even in a relationship, but I used to notice this young girl. She would just, we do a lot of working in Africa, so she would trek, and I'm probably coming from somewhere, and I'm just seeing, in my mind, something is wrong, something is bothering this person. So as a, church leader, she attends my church. So, one of those days, hey, I have this event, I would like you to come. It's a training, it's a conference. And then, she was like, my sister wouldn't agree. I said, okay, let's go meet your sister. She too attends the same church. So convinced the sister, she attended the seminar. And gradually, I started a foundation on campus as well. We used to work with orphans, and she joined that as well. We had scholarship programs for less privileged kids, and she was passionate about that as well. And she rose to even be a leader in that. And at some point, I became her mentor. It was nothing relationship or anything. But at some point, something happened with my, relationship. And what was bothering me for me was, who can I marry that really fits into my future? I often tell people I wasn't emotionally connected to her, but I knew if I married this woman, I will live long.
Really?
I will have peace of mind. It was based on that.
Really? You knew that?
I didn't hear God. Some people say they heard God. I didn't hear God.
You heard yourself.
I was convinced that this person, and that was why I left the other relationship, was that I said, this kind of pressure will not walk into where I'm going.
What kind of pressure was she applying?
Just typical, my wife then, my ex, then I could be doing counseling, and then she's like, what are you doing counseling for? How many hours? All of them want to see you. I want to be with you. And I knew I was going to build a global empire.
You knew that back then?
I knew. I did a 50-year goal plan.
50 years?
50.
Some people can't even plan their next week. You did 50 years?
I'm in the 16th year now of my 50-year goal plan. So, and I just said, nah, if you're giving me this kind of pressure, I want to be with you all the time. I want to hang out with you all the time. I need to build a global empire. So I then said, who is in my life right now that fits into where I'm going? And she was the picture. And I had a few friends, they agreed. They said, this person fits into who you are, what you're doing, where you're going. The vision aligns. And so
So how did you know that back then? You weren't even dating her. So how did you know that she could show up as the wife that you need and you wasn't even dating her? What did she show you? What characteristics that she had back then? Because a lot of women want to know why do men choose certain women to build legacy with? What did you see in her character?
Well, it was the fact that, first of all, she is still now very humble, patient. I mean, really, really patient. I mean, till today, if my wife, barge into me talking to maybe somebody has come for, she's apologizing, like, oh, I'm sorry. I mean, typical person, oh, my husband, come on, please wrap up right now. I need to see you. There was so much to her character that was just unique and was different. And for me, of course, there's no perfect man, no perfect woman. Absolutely. But for me, it was that I was too sure with this kind of attitude, where you're patient. And it really played out when we got married, because at some point my business crashed. At some point, even she advised me to go get a job. But assuming I was with somebody else, they would have pressured me into quitting my vision.
That's good.
Because when she said, maybe you want to get a job, I said, can you just give me some time?
Good.
I promise you, this thing will work.
Ooh, that's getting me emotional right there. Jesus, why are you doing this to me? That is so important. Yeah. People don't understand when you have somebody that believes in you, and we're going to unpack those times where it got really hard. People can talk about those beautiful moments where you can write books and talk about how much money you've acquired, and then it makes people think, oh, I can do it too. And they don't realize, they don't have the tenacity to keep moving forward when they don't have much to eat. And then are you aligned with a person that's not going to be like talking on the phone, they homegirls, he's sorry. I don't know how to tell him. He's never going to be that. He just needs to give this alone and give this up and get a job. We ain't had a vacation in 5 years. And they start telling you about everything that y'all haven't had instead of dreaming with you and saying, when we make it, we'd be able to buy a whole island if we want to. Absolutely. And you getting hyped up and you like, well, shoot, I don't want to let her down. I gotta, in the moment that you can't encourage yourself, that you hear that beautiful woman speaking life into you, speaking to the king in you, that makes you elevate. That's what I want to unpack. And so you said it was moments that you felt like, no, we're going to go back. So then you fantasized and said, this is a woman I believe that I can build a global empire with. This is a person that I can build legacy with. And then how did you relay that to her? Because this is your homegirl right now. This is somebody you mentoring right now. So how'd you shoot your shot, King?
Yeah, so I still remember, I had probably less than 20 cents in my pocket. So I had to trek to her house. She gave me dinner.
She gave me dinner?
Because we had no dinner.
Yeah, no dinner.
Yeah, I mean, now you're going to play me like that. Yeah. Okay.
She said you were starving. She said you was an orphan is basically what she said, Stephen. I ain't saying the way she's, but what she said was you were starving and she had to feed you. That's what she said.
And I just unpacked. I said, look, I have this vision. In 3 years' time, I'm going to have my apartment. I will have opened my office.
Turn the microphone down a little bit.
This way?
Yeah. Great.
Okay, so in 3 years' time, I will have gotten my apartment. I will have gotten my office, and I love you. Straight up, marry me. Again, maybe because of my, spiritual background, I didn't believe in just wasting a woman's time. So it was straight up, I want to marry you in 3 years' time. And I give you some time to think about it.
You said that's the first time you told her you had any interest in her?
Yeah.
You just straight up said, I want to marry you?
Straight up. Straight up. I mean, we're that way in Africa. You Americans, you want to take some more time, but
look to that camera and talk to the Americans. You ain't talking about me. Talk to the other Americans. Talk to them and tell them that they like wasting people's time.
It was straight up. I want to marry you in 3 years' time. And I can assure you, this will have been ready, this will have been ready. And that was it.
What did you think hearing that, Bisi?
So when he said it...
Our own version.
My own version.
Your own version.
So when he said that to me, I did not give any answer. I just went back. Actually, before he said it, I knew he was going to ask me out.
You did?
Yes. And I said I would never say yes to him because he was a workaholic. And I was just waiting to finish school and just run away from him because when we're done with a project with the orphans, he already has about 3-4 projects laid down. And my dad actually sent me to come study in school. I love to help orphans. We did a whole lot for them. And it was really amazing. One of them recently got married last month. I was so happy to see that she got married.
Good.
And a couple of them as well that we kept in touch with. They're doing amazingly well. So I was just looking for a way to just run away from this man after school. But when he said it, I had to go back to kneel down because I was not in love as well. There was no butterfly in my stomach.
You didn't have no time. He just told you.
feelings.
The first time he done told you he cared about you and saying he's going to get married to you in 3 years.
Honestly, I
he
liked
told you
him because he was a great leader and he was actually a mover. I love the fact that he knows where he was going and how we actually also, prior to that, apart from the first conference he took me to attend, there are several conferences he ensured I and some other people attended while we were in school. He just loved to impact people, loved to see people grow. We would have breakfast meeting as students by 6:30 a.m. We would attend and he would share some business tips with us. It worked actually, those tips he was giving to us. And my business was growing as a student as well.
What business did you have?
So I had a business selling jewelry. In short, from selling jewelry, I actually started selling clothes. Then I helped him sell with his own business as well. I would see his items in his room. I'll just pick it up and go from room to room, from dorm to dorm.
And sell his stuff?
Selling his stuff, yes.
Wow.
Asking, knocking on doors. Do you want to get some nice DVDs? And they're like, yes, I want it. Some will say, no, I got so many no's. And of course, but I just enjoyed it. I just love to do that.
So that was an aspect you liked about her, huh? You missed that part that she came and she can go produce income.
No, I think she started up after we started dating.
No, I think it was before.
Are you sure?
Yes,
Start selling your stuff.
It was before.
your first sales rep.
Because I did not do that for just even my friends.
Oh.
When I see their stuff lying fallow, I just hate to see people's products lying fallow without it being sold. So I pick it up. I just say, you know what, I'm going to sell this.
And you just go door to door and
Yes,
sell
and I
it.
go to door and I sell some. Some I don't sell.
And
but
did you keep a
I'm just
percentage?
happy.
You kept a percentage?
No, they never gave me anything. But I wasn't bothered.
Well, I
actually.
gave you.
No, you didn't. You never did. But I never complained actually because I just loved it. And I was glad I did it because today I'm also in the same field. So those things I did those days was grooming me to becoming who I am today in e-commerce, in real estate. So if I wasn't doing that, it would be difficult for me to approach people, to network with people. I'll have to maybe pay more money to go learn about public speaking, about how to be a good marketer, how to talk to people. So I went back to God, I knelt down and I prayed and I said, God, I do not want this man. He's a workaholic. And I had prayed before that I know this man wants to ask me out as well. I knelt down and prayed to God and I said, I don't want to. It doesn't look like the TDH guy, the tall, dark, and some will bring me flowers.
Are you kidding?
As at that time, as not now. Now it looks like it actually. To be honest, I can't lie actually.
Keep it real. Yeah, keep it real. Keep it all the way real.
Fine boy, no pimples.
No, of course. I tried. I've worked on that actually. I did a good job actually. But at that time, it wasn't. It doesn't look like the man that will bring me flowers. It doesn't look like the man that will take me out on a date. It doesn't look anything close to it because I wanted all of these things. I grew up in a family that I can't say there was love there. I didn't grow up with love. Although my dad said he loves me, but I did not grow up seeing him loving my mom or my stepmom. So for me, I just wanted someone who could love me. And I wasn't seeing that in this man. It was so much of a workaholic. So, but when I prayed, I heard God saying, not God was speaking, saying to me to go ahead. I had an inner peace and I had a voice. I can't really say it was 100% God, but at that time I knew I was hearing a voice to say to me to go ahead. I did not love him. I did not want to marry him as at that time, but hearing that voice just made me to say to myself, okay, why don't you give it a try? Because prior to even going to God, I'd say to God that I wasn't going to be in a relationship while in school. I wanted to do well in school. I felt relationship was a distraction.
How old were you when you say in school? How old were you during that
when
time?
when we started dating?
Yeah, when you were saying that I don't want to be married.
Oh, how old was I? I was 16 when I made that plan, or when I made that vow that when I get to school, I wasn't going to date anyone.
Yeah.
One, I was just going to focus on my studies and come out strong.
At this point, when you were praying whether to date me or not, how old were you?
How were you there?
As at that time, we started dating when I was 19. So I was going to turn 20. So we started dating.
Are you sure?
Yes, in my second year.
Because we married. You were 23 when we got married.
Yes, but I was going to my second
3
year.
years, so you were 20.
I was going to 20.
Okay, go ahead.
You were about to turn 20.
Yes, I was about to turn 20. So
you're 20 years old.
I caught you younger.
He got you. You got a little younger.
So for me, it was, and why I did not also want to date. And one of the things for him that he really did before we even started dating was I never wanted to get married. So that was.
You never wanted to get married at all?
No. I hate marriage. I hate the weddings. I hate everything that has to do with relationship because I'm from a home that I never saw love, like I said. Then the people around me, it was, I said to myself, is this love? If this is love, I don't want to experience it because it makes no sense getting married, having my emotions battered, then having my face with some punches. And I love my face so much and I wasn't ready to get that.
She said having my face with some punches. So that's what marriage represented.
Absolutely. So for me, one of the things he did was it was getting me books. It was taking me to families that relationship that worked well on campus. And I saw how the man respected his wife. I saw how men allowed their wives to fly. Then I intentionally moved close to couples who were older, not younger. And I saw respect. I saw genuine love. So all of this actually now reframed my mindset that you could be married and fly. You could be married and you can have the best of your life and your husband is having the best of his life. And the fact that my parents' marriage failed doesn't mean that my marriage was going to fail as well. So for me, I finally said yes to him.
How long did you take?
It didn't take time because he didn't give me time, actually. So he was just direct.
24 hours.
I want the response fast.
By the way, she was the only woman I gave enough time to give reply. Typically,
are you sure?
You give me answers immediately. Yeah. So, and I told her that.
So what was time? How long did you give her? The next day?
Maybe a week or so.
Oh, really?
But I told her, I said,
a few days later.
Yes, I told her, I said, I mean, I will give you time, but typically I get my answers. I mean, you should have known since we've known each other for a while. Whether you,
but she said the most of the time she known you had a girlfriend.
Yes, and he had a girlfriend, so I was even angry with him. He ended the relationship with her, so it was strange for me. Even when we started dating, he would sit there, I would sit here. It was what should we be talking about? I don't understand what we should be doing because this is somebody who has been my mentor. I never thought of being in a relationship with him. So it was really strange. I was so stiff in the relationship. In short, I think at the point I almost broke up with you. I don't know.
You asked us to break up.
Because
you're so uncomfortable.
Yes, it was so strange at some point because I couldn't understand what we were doing in the relationship. And like I said, he only bought me flowers just once. Can you imagine? Just once. Got me, and he bought me bar soap.
Bar soap?
Yes, as a gift. You bought me bar soap, remember? You bought me bar soap as a gift.
Did you ever tell him you wanted flowers?
Cut the tape.
You bought me bar soap.
Cut the tape.
You can imagine
welcome to our marriage counseling. This is our first marriage counseling episode. This is going to be a little therapy we're going to do here.
He bought me bar soap.
So Stephen, so you bought a bottle. Did you ever know that she wanted flowers? Let's talk, King. Did she ever express to you what she wanted?
I never did.
See, and that's the thing about it. What happens is people get married and start dating with expectations that they didn't communicate to the other person.
Absolutely.
And then they have an expectation, and when someone fails to meet that expectation, they go, see, I should have never done this. Just tell me what you need, and then see if I'm willing to give.
Absolutely.
And that's what's so bad about it, because you see that in so many marriages or dating relationships, instead of saying, and women have this ideology, well, if he's the right one, he should know.
Yeah,
Jesus know. That's the only person I can read your mind. I cannot read your mind. So just say it. Say, I love for you to give me flowers. And then see if he continues doing that.
Absolutely.
I mean, we had seasons where we got married that was a major issue. I mean, I tell people my first 2 weeks being a married man was one of the most miserable seasons of my life. The first 2 weeks.
You said 2 weeks?
Don't go there.
Now it's your turn to ask them to cut the tape.
That's your time. You said 2 weeks, huh?
Because I have been living in the apartment before we got married. I knew where my toothpaste is. I knew where everything is. Now, for some strange reason.
No, don't.
You know, my wife
You don't want to
loved
say that.
brush her teeth in the kitchen. So my toothpaste and toothbrush is missing in the bathroom.
No,
And
your
then
toothpaste, not
your
toothbrush.
toothpaste.
Your toothbrush.
toothpaste.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's
toothpaste.
missing the bathroom. It's in the kitchen. Like, who does that? I'm like, I've been living my perfect life
But you know,
alone.
I had a good reason.
You know,
Why the
Because
kitchen?
when I want to use the bathroom, I expect it to be spotless. I don't want to see your soap on the bathroom wall, and when I see it, it turns me off.
So you don't
and
want to brush your
because
teeth like that?
yes, because it makes me, I don't know. When I see it, I can't brush my teeth in that particular bathroom. But I've changed now. I don't do that anymore.
So now it's in the bathroom?
I don't do that anymore.
Now you brush your teeth in the shower?
Yeah, absolutely. So it was not easy for me to adapt to, because my bathroom was always spotless, and having to stay with him, and he needs to clean after using.
Spotless.
It wasn't as spotless as mine.
I don't know
actually.
too many men that's
So-
gonna have spotless anything.
So I just could not imagine I just want to run out of the bathroom immediately, because I can't imagine. Even I always clean up after you leave, so that I can bathe and not think of.
I mean,
your soap.
she had this excessive wanting everything to be spotless. And,
But kids have changed
and
it
I
today.
think this is
My kids changed.
this is
Kids have
part
changed
of-
real
They
quick.
changed
once.
it.
Yeah, and this is
Actually.
part of the lesson, because sometimes we destroy great marriages over tiny issues.
Yes.
Today, I'm the neater one. She's the not tutu. I'm not saying, but not tutu.
It be scattered because
yes,
of kids.
I'm way more, clean, organized. When they visit me in Dubai, they mess up my house, and now again. Even here in the US,
But it's not me. The kids, yes.
The kids. Yeah, blame on the kids.
Your kids, our kids,
It's
they
your
do
kids.
that all the time. Yes, not me.
But it tells you how the relationship will have been destroyed over something that most likely you will even do as the relationship goes on.
Because you start becoming more like the other person. Y'all start switching.
Exactly. So
I think one of the things you also did that made it not to be destroyed because of my own excess behavior as regards some few things. Because what he did was he gave me my space. So you won't find him in the kitchen anymore. So at the time, he left the living room for me. So I want him out of the living room, because he became glued to his room, because he doesn't want to upset me by doing something that will get me upset. Like, oh, why did you put this here? Well, I kept it this way. Why did you remove it? Why did you go to the kitchen? You picked a piece of meat and you did not put the spoon in the right place the way I kept it. And so he intentionally just gave me my space. It was when I realized it, I said, no, you shouldn't have done that, because now I'm craving for him to come out of his bedroom. Don't worry, do anything right now. I don't care.
You done pushed them out.
Absolutely. We'll scatter it together. Don't worry. We'll just mix it up. I'll get someone to clean it up later. So I think doing that actually did not allow us to have so many issues. I'll have issues anymore, rather. Because we were having issues early in marriage due to some of these things I was saying. I don't understand why you come back from work and your shoes will not be in the right place, or you won't clean your shoes properly before you bring it into the house. Why should you?
So you're a clean freak, huh?
Yes, I was a clean
make
freak.
everything.
Everything has to be extremely clean. But right now,
You don't care no more?
I'm okay. The kids have actually taught me a
How many
great
kids y'all
lesson.
have?
I have 3 kids.
Three kids. So did that
they
change
dealt
by the
with
first
me
kid?
actually.
Did the
No, the
first
first kids, I was still a clean freak. The
Yeah.
second, the third, when I was pregnant with the third, I
said,
couldn't
"I
do
don't
it
care
anymore. I just said to myself, I'm done. I can't do this anymore, because it wasn't
And now
easy.
he the one cleaning up everything.
So he was the one doing it.
Let's go back to how y'all got to, you broke up with him because you're feeling these triggers. You're like, oh my God, I never want to be married in the first place. He's not giving me flowers like I want. And this is awkward. I don't know how to be romantic with my mentor. This is just throwing me all the way off. So you ended it. How'd y'all get back?
I didn't allow her to end it. She made the proposal and I rejected it.
She said, so you want to break up? Okay, I'm glad you got that out. We're still together.
I rejected
but the second one,
Oh, it's 2 times.
yes, it was twice. So he was one that was doing the breakup this time around.
Oh, you trying to break up with her?
Because my dad did not want us to get married.
I even had another babe, one fine girl like that. But,
You can't say that again.
but go ahead.
Why didn't you marry her? Why didn't you marry her?
He said, why'd you marry her, huh?
Maybe his blood pressure will be
Blood pressure be through the roof.
maybe 500 over.
So your dad didn't want, so what happened?
Yes, because my dad had high expectation for all his kids, and I was his favorite at that time. So he calls me his best friend. He's late right now, and it's so painful. But thank God. One of the things I thank God for was I went out of my way and we still got married. He did not want us to get married because he was not looking like the son-in-law he wanted. He had
And they
no
look
car.
at money though, right? It's about money, right?
Absolutely. He had no car. His family, there was...
The first time I visited him, I was just dressing simple, palm slippers,
yes.
to commercial vehicle, So he kept asking, so where are you from? Who is notable in your family?
Yeah, it's all about notability.
Nobody.
No notable person, no money, nothing.
You ain't got nobody in your family that's successful.
Even the job, where do you work? I said, I own my business. So what do you do? I said, digital marketing. And nobody knew what digital marketing was, just beginning. So he was like, this one isn't responsible. He can't afford to take care of you, and for him, it was a no-no.
And then did you have to, when you decided to marry, well, let's get there. So you pretty much disobeyed your father's request and still decide to marry him.
Yeah, because I had to tell her, well, your dad doesn't want me to marry you. I mean, I respect that, and so I cut off the relationship. I think 3 months later, she came back and said...
It wasn't up to 3 months.
Okay.
No, it wasn't.
How long was it?
It was just, I think, a couple of weeks, maybe 2 weeks.
No, it's more.
No, it wasn't up to... No. I remember...
He had a whole nother woman, so he's saying that.
Exactly.
Yeah, he had a whole nother woman.
Exactly. It was more than that.
It wasn't.
It was, I think, 2 months or so.
No, it wasn't that
So
long.
how you get a whole nother woman?
Maybe
then?
maybe a month.
It was more than that.
No.
I mean, there were a lot of ladies eligible bachelor. Like, come on.
Eligible bachelor with no job, with digital marketing.
No, yeah. I mean, funny enough, I wasn't that bad. I think it was just his own level of expectation, and I didn't look like it because, I mean, I already had my own apartment. I had my office. Yes, it was still upcoming, because I prioritized. Even then, if I had wanted to buy a car, I could have, but I prioritized opening a good office, having a good structure above having a car. And then, they look at the outward, the car, this. So he was judging me based on that. And so I had to say, let's end it. So I think she came back.
So I want to know, based on your custom.
Yeah.
So basically, if the father says, hey, you don't have my blessing.
Yes.
As a man, you're supposed to say, I don't have the respect of your father to marry you?
Absolutely. I mean, it's the right thing to do because, I mean, you will also have daughters one day.
Yeah.
You want to respect his wishes. But she came back and said she's convinced other members of the family.
Okay.
Except for the dad. Her mom was on board. A couple of other people were on board. Our dad's older sister was on board. It was almost everybody was okay except the dad. And she wanted us to continue. And, it was tough because at that point, my own family were not ready anymore. They were like, if the dad say no, then what are you doing? So, again, to convince my own family member, a day to our wedding, I had to go to my family house, inform all my siblings that if you don't want to come for the wedding, no crime. I'm the one getting married. Whatever happened in the marriage, I'm not going to come knock at your door and complain to you. I'm going ahead with this. If you guys say you're not coming, that's okay. Because some of them started saying they won't come. Is it compulsory? I mean, you don't need to marry her, don't let her, and all of that. And it's funny that 12 years later, no third party has ever solved issues for us. We've never had to knock on anybody's door to say, well, we made a mistake. Can you solve the problem? Can you know?
Even when there was no money.
Yeah.
No, like literally no money, no food in the house.
She was pregnant and
nothing.
For days, no food,
For days.
So no family member got to know.
Let me ask you this. When you met the father that first time, was that the official knock at the door?
Yes. And I think because I met her mom's best friend. So our best friend also had similar issues. She wanted to get married immediately after college. And, the mom said no. So it was her dad who persuaded the mom to accept and even brought gifts for the wedding. Yeah. Literally took over the wedding. So when she met me, so she then said, when I said, look, I'm ready, let's get married, said my dad wouldn't, I can't even tell my dad, but my best friend mom, I can take you to her. So we visited her. She now said, no, I mean, what he helped me with this kind of situation. Yeah. I can't have his daughter having the same thing and not help. So she was the one that took me to him. I said, today we must see him. And then I had to come. And I wasn't prepared. I would have probably rented a car.
Tricked him a little bit. I would have deceived him a little bit.
I would have, looked the parts. But because I wasn't planning to see him, so I just
came as you were. Yes. Like you come to church. You can't go to him like you come to God. You better go.
He wasn't impressed at all. But the good news was, before he died, he was more than impressed because when we're doing our 10th year anniversary, we invited him. At this point, we're living in the most expensive neighborhood in Nigeria, Banana Island. We're doing so well. He's so proud. And the rest of his life, he was proud of us, really proud.
Yeah.
So how many years did he get a chance to see you flourish?
That was 4 years.
So 4 years, he was able to look at you and be like, that's my son-in-law.
But did he start talking to you after 4 years? Because he was still not talking to her for a long time.
No, it was 4 years. We celebrated his 60th, remember?
But was it 4 years after the wedding? I'm not sure.
No, not after the wedding. It's 4 years.
Live.
The past 4 years.
Yeah, the past 4 years before he passed.
So that means 8 years into the marriage was when he finally... At that point, she started traveling globally. She was on TV, things were working. And he was proud,
But at first...
And he was seeing you as well.
Yeah.
He saw more of you as well.
Yes, he saw.
Did you have to give him any type of diary before y'all got married?
So after, the story is really, really, it's a big lesson, even for fathers, to be a bit patient on things like this. Because after we had our first son, which was his own first grandchild, at that point, my business I was doing well, even before I got married, started crumbling. We believe in a lot of superstitions back at home. So people said, maybe it was because your father-in-law didn't give blessing, go beg him. So I took my family, my dad, everybody, with his first grandchild to go beg him. I was lying down on the floor begging for 2 hours, and he was angry. He was yelling. If my daughter had died, I would have made sure, even if the court says you are not responsible, I'm going to bribe the warders to poison you. You're going to die. Wow. He was all angry. And we kept begging, and, so at that point, he still didn't accept. And so I remember when my pastor said to me, you've done the right thing. Yeah. Right. At this point, just move on. Yeah. And I can assure you, God will bless your home. And that was what happened. Years later, he was now the one that came back.
Yeah. That's beautiful. And I'm glad, and thank you for sharing that, because I know certain stuff like that is very difficult to share, especially in his demise by him being, he's not amongst us anymore. Yeah. And then to be able to share that in front of his daughter and not feel like you're attacking him per se. I know it's an uncomfortable thing. So just thank y'all for being present, because it taught me a lot too about the custom, about what y'all come from, how much honor is important in the Nigerian culture. And so, and unfortunately, in a lot of Americans, especially African-American women's lives, those that don't have a father present, they can't even understand what you're talking about. Yeah, they be like, shoot, I don't care if my dad don't care. All right, I ain't talk to him. He wasn't there for me since I was born, so it don't matter. But it's good to know the role of a father and that he honors his daughter so much and she honors her father. But when it comes in a way of love and based upon them, it's not, in your culture, it's not about love. It's based upon provision, you know, and honor. And like you said, does he have any people of noble people in their family? Yeah. Because it's based upon the optics of it all.
And that's why the marriages last longer. You know, because you're not just, I incidentally, my friend is out there, the same thing, he's been married for 31 years.
31 years.
And I was like, how did you guys meet? He said, well, parents had common friends and then they introduced us and that's it.
He's like, all right, y'all get married. He's like, all right, I ain't attracted to her, I ain't attracted to him. We're going to get married and make the best out of it.
And he's 31 years, but from our perspective, that there's so much support system.
Yes.
You know, even when they had their children, his own parents were around to help raise the kids, our own parents were around. And those things help, you know, to manage the period of crisis when you guys are still understanding each other. You know, there's enough support system. And I think that's part of what we're lacking, not just in America, but even it's happening now in Nigeria when you don't take seriously the role of your in-laws, because typically in Africa, you're not even marrying the girl, you're marrying the in-laws.
Yes.
Family.
We believe strongly that, look, there's a word that says oro lano. Literally, it means oro. Ni ano.
Oh, no, hello. You said something real in the back of the throat and I couldn't get that.
Translate that.
So it means
what?
It means the in-laws are literally like a deity.
Like a god.
Right.
Wow.
Yes.
Mini god.
You know, so your in-laws are like a deity. You really have to respect them. You really have to do a lot to make sure they're okay.
And don't typically, like when you have a kid that your in-laws, you know, the mother could come live with y'all for about, you know, a year or whatnot to get you on your feet or whatnot. Is that a thing?
Yeah, it's a thing. I mean, if
It depends. It could be 41 days, maybe 3 months.
You said what, 41 days?
So for some, 41 days.
Like
for some, 3 months.
Yeah, if you have a new baby, so either party's parent comes around.
Did y'all do that?
Yes.
Okay. Because I know you said y'all were struggling financially when the baby was born and she wasn't eating. But y'all tell
my
nobody?
mom did not stay with us for 41 days. No, she just stayed for a few days and she left. Not for 41 days.
She stayed for a few days, and so she didn't see the struggle.
No, she didn't.
No.
And y'all were too prideful to tell her.
No, not prideful. We just had the agreement.
It was just the dignity.
We had an agreement that nothing goes out of this home.
Yeah.
And because personally, I was so young, I was just 23 when we got married, but I had surrounded my life, myself, even till date, with marriages that were working, older marriages. And none of them told me, or did I see any of them going out of the home to have a third party come in. I have a very close, one of my adopted moms in my life. She's the one bringing in the money to the family. She sent her 2 kids to one of the best schools back in Nigeria. Yet, she would honor her husband as if her husband is the one bringing the money in the home. The way she talks to him, sometimes the way she takes her husband to travel outside Nigeria with her money.
Yeah.
But never for once did I see her disrespect her
good.
husband. So those things made me realize that I have to honor. Then I also had to look keenly into some families as well who honor their pastors more than they honor their spouse. And I said to myself, I don't want to do this. If I cannot honor my husband, then I won't honor my pastor, because I see that my husband is the head of the home. So if I would respect my pastor, I should give my husband more honor than my pastor, because this is the pastor, the priest. That's what the Bible says. He is the priest over my home.
You better preach, Bisi.
So I said to myself, if I do not honor this man, and the way I carry this man as well, will be the way my family and my friends will carry him. So I intentionally do not want to tell my parents what we're going through, because I know if I do, they would talk to my husband in a rude way that he cannot provide for me and our son as at that time. And the people around me as well. So intentionally, when we were going through tough time, when we wanted to have our first child, we did not even have money for the antenatal. I did not even have money for the delivery items to take to the hospital. And the first clothes I ever had, baby clothes, was the one my mom bought and said, you know what, I saw this nice piece of clothes and just add it to what you've bought. I did not tell her I've not bought anything. And I was almost 9 months due. I was 8 months plus. And I said, oh, thank you so much. That was what my son wore for his naming. Because I had to, in the hospital, it was 2. One in the hospital, the other one in the naming. Then I had to, I think I got some money. I think less than, it was up to $10. I went to pick some clothes that were fairly used. And I bought that for my kids. I washed them, I anointed them, and that was what I wore for him. But because I'd learned from these older couples, and that's the problem we're having today. A lot of people surround their lives with marriages that are vague, marriages that are not working, social media marriages. They want to pattern their life around such marriages, whereas you're supposed to look at marriages that are working, older marriages, people like that, have them around your life. Let them be your mentor. Let them be your guide. Marriages are never smooth. It's never a bed of roses. I was never this way when we got married. I was boring. I was not fun to be with, but I was waiting for him to also change, forgetting that I need to change myself. So I needed him to do so many things. I needed him to confess to me that he loves me because he doesn't know how to confess it, that he loves me. But I did not even know how to communicate this, even though communication was one of the major things we said we're going to do in the home. So one of the things I had to do was to now begin to learn how temperament has to do with marriage, because I was a flag male and he is a male call. Now his choleric your choleric has dominated your male. Like you said, I used to feel his choleric was on the high side. So for me, I had to learn about my temperament, his temperament. Now, how does his temperament affect the marriage? How does mine affect the marriage? And I discovered that when I began to switch from my temperament, and at first I was faking it, then later I became real. So I was faking to be the loving, the charming. Now let's do this. I'll jump on him. You need to carry me. You need to do this. You need to say that. You need to tell me tell me you love me. I'll say to him, say, I love you, babe. You know, sometimes I'll dress and people will say, you look good. And my husband will just look at me, just smile. He will say, I look good. I'll go to him and say, tell me. That will hurt me. Yeah. Because other people are telling me I look good, but my husband isn't saying this. Yeah. So I'll go to him, tell me I am beautiful. Tell me I look good, that my outfit is good. Now, before I began to do this, I'll also say to him, you are so handsome. Good. Wow, look at... I don't want to say all the things I say to him. Those are private talks.
Yeah, you talking nasty to him. That's what being nasty. You were talking nasty to him. That's what you're supposed to be. That's why y'all made it 12 years. There you go. That's why Steven's sitting back looking at you while you talking like that. He looking like this. Mm-hmm. Look at him. Getting them all turned on over there. I see you, King. That's your wife. That's right. Talking about she's shy. She don't want to talk. She talking now. She talking now. Look at her. Look at her. You just sit back looking at her.
But for me, communication was really key, and also having to change myself, having to change who I was, not saying, no, this is the way I am. You have to manage me. If you can't, you just deal with it. Yeah. So I had to work on myself, and working on myself now made people around me to love me more. Yes. Made people around me to want me more as well. Even made him to even profess love to me when I don't even ask for it. Ooh. And makes me, even for the kids, naturally, it's become a thing in the house whereby you just see, they can see me or see the other dad, you look so handsome. Oh my God, my dad, you are this.
The kids say that?
Yeah, they do say that to us. Mommy, you are the most beautiful woman I have ever said that. I'll say, I hope you don't want something with what you say. But of course, also having older people in my life really was the game changer for me. And up to this very moment, when I see any marriage that is working, they are older couples, I want to hang around them. Yes. I want to have them in my life. I want to learn the principles that has made their marriage to work, because I want to be married for the next 50 years. Yeah. I don't want my marriage to be a social media marriage. When I have issues, I'm going on social media, because social media didn't bring us together.
Teach.
So I don't want social media to now be the judge of my marriage.
Come on.
Yes.
So for me,
You see why I'm married?
Yeah, there it is.
End of discussion.
And I would say women should do the same. Even
That's
men,
real.
if you want to have a long-lasting marriage, there's no perfect marriage. There's no a marriage that is written is like the one you read in the novel, or like the Cinderella, or the home videos, or the fake one you see on social media, holding hands, going for dinner, and the next thing you hear is they filed for a divorce.
Yep.
So if you want to have a long-lasting relationship, marriage, one of the things I did, or we did rather, is we read books, we attend marriage seminars together, and we also have other couples in our lives whose marriages are working.
Yes.
And we don't go to them for advice, but we just pick things and add it to our templates and make it work for us.
But she said she didn't want to talk. You said she's shy?
I'm impressed, man.
Man, let me tell you
Keep
something.
talking.
Then there's something else about him which I love so much, is the fact that he is not actually threatened by my success. So if I'm the one more successful today, my husband we'll spend the money together. We're all fine.
Yes.
So he's not threatened. And that's one of the things I believe every woman should look out for, especially if a choleric woman who is a go-getter, or even if you're not a choleric woman, if you're a go-getter, never marry someone who is threatened by your success.
That's real.
So as long as I am successful, it's fine. He sometimes he would tell me I'm not doing enough.
Let me ask you this, though, Dr. Stephen. If she was more successful than you, would that intimidate you?
No, and it came from the place of knowledge. I read a book by the late Miles Monroe.
Yes.
The Power and Purpose of Women and the Power and Purpose of Men. And the book opened me up to the fact that of all the 6-7 things a man needs to be to a woman, money is actually the least. You know,
Teach.
You know, money is actually the least. You know,
But money makes the love sweeter.
It makes love sweeter.
Yes, it does. And money is very important. I'm not underrating that. I mean, in our marriage, with more money, it is helped the marriage to be more enjoyable. It's make it so much fun. Even this morning, we woke up in a beautiful place with a lake view and all of that on our way here, and beautiful. So it helps, but knowing that that's not just what makes you you. You know, you need to be a priest. You need to be a protector. You know, and so many other roles that are there. So for me, I'm not intimidated by, you know, in fact, my ex was way ahead of me career-wise. She was older. But that book had helped me to learn to handle my relationship in a way that I'm excited for the success. Our success is my success. My success is our success.
Exactly.
And yeah.
My question to you, Dr. Stephen, is this. Because a lot of women complain about hearing compliments from everybody else other than their lover. Why do you think that was with you?
Well, I think it's personality type. And like she's saying, I mean, some of us who are either melancholy, choleric, or choleric melancholy find it difficult to express love.
Yeah.
Right? And even though we will die for that woman.
Yep.
You know, I remember when I got married, one of the most painful things she ever said to me was, "You don't love me." This was just a few weeks after we got married. And I was so hot because I literally fought everybody in my house to marry you.
Yeah.
I mean, I went to 1,000 oceans. And then you say, I don't love you. Like, what are you talking about? But obviously what she meant was, I don't feel love right now.
Yep.
You know, not that you don't love me, right? But that's personality type playing out, because I love by doing things, right? Meanwhile, she wants to be loved by words.
Yep.
You know,
words of affirmation.
Love language.
and
So that's where the 5 love languages come in. She's saying you can go provide, you can go buy a big old house, you can buy diamond rings, a Bentley, Rolls Royce, and an airplane. And she be like, say you love me.
Exactly.
Girl, you see what I gave you? that means nothing
I've
to me.
said the love with what
I sent it. You went to Chanel, I sent it. No, you didn't say it.
Yeah.
You could have saved all this money as you just said you love me.
Absolutely, I agree.
So it's a personality thing, and I've seen so many marriages fall apart just based on personality types.
Yep.
And I don't think you need to cut the relationship because you have different personalities. You just really need to know even the different personalities is an edge, is an advantage.
Yes.
I'm the, for example, the spender. I'm the go take risk, start a business. She's the conservative. We need to look at this well. And if you then understand that it's two strengths that is needed to keep things going.
Yep.
We all can't face the same direction.
Yep.
I've seen marriages crash because the two parties are go-getters.
Yep.
And then nobody's helping to take care of the house. The kids are suffering. And so your differences is an advantage. It's not a weakness.
My good friend Kariga Bailey said differences aren't deficits, and I never forgot that.
I like that.
Shout out to Kariga. He was on the episode first season. He said differences aren't deficits because we also look at it like that. You'll look at a relationship and then look at it like, oh, it's something wrong because you're not like me.
Exactly.
And be like, no, the fact that you're a go-getter and a visionary that can go make money, and then she can sit there and be like, now we can go ahead and save some money and do this. She gets the best of both worlds. You get the best of both worlds. You go and make it, dream. She gets to go and build the nest egg and take care of the family. And she also she has business acumen as well. So it's like it's the blend of the beauty. But that's like you said. People not realizing that would cause the demise of the marriage. They'd be like, well, I need you to be like me. I would have never done that. And be like, but God didn't make you marry you. And if you wanted to marry you, you should have stayed single.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
And one of the things I've always reiterated is, and I think this is very, very important if you look at it, that you cannot change your spouse.
That part.
You only can change you.
She said that at the beginning. She said she kept trying to make you
exactly. And I see this oftentimes. I tried that as well. And after, I think at the third year, I said, you know what? I'm done.
Yeah.
I'm going to make me better.
And you were going to enjoy your life. So whether I like it or not.
Yes. And
he wants me to travel with him. I'll say, no, I'm not going. Let's keep the money. No, let's save the money. Let's use the money for something else. Why should we waste the money to go travel?
Oh, that's why you said you was boring. You said you was a boring person to be around. You said I was a boring person to be around.
I was boring, actually. I was a boring person.
I was very adventurous. I want to see the world. And then, no, you stay at home. See me. Look at me. I'm enough.
He's like, I can see you in Dubai.
So exactly. So at some point I said, you know what? I'm done, right? I'm gonna, because the day I will be on my deathbed, I don't want to blame any mortal man for anything I've not done in my life. Not one person.
That's good.
And I told her I would never blame you for that. So I'm going to live the best version of my life.
It's left to me too.
Whichever part you want to join me in, I'm okay with that.
You got the open door. So in that moment, he's going to see the world. Was you getting envious?
I wasn't.
You didn't care?
No, I didn't care. When I decided to join was when it was calling some figures. It was making money, and I said, "You can do it. You're more pretty. You're more beautiful. You can do this thing. Why are you not standing up to do it?" Then finally I got up and I actually did it because my wife became stronger. I wanted to send more people to school. I wanted to, because of our charity work, and people were coming to me. There were fewer people. Now I have more people always coming to my DM now. So I just did not want to go to him every time I need money. Because growing up as well, I saw how a woman would ask for money from her spouse and how her husband would, didn't I give you some money a few weeks back? And, she can't do anything without her husband. So for me, I wanted to now make my own money because of these reasons. And when I saw him making money, and I said to myself, my wife is strong enough now. I need to make my money. So I used to just be a housewife, a homekeeper, a homemaker rather, just want to have my children, but very cautious, be very amazing, just be wonderful kids, raise good kids and godly kids. But I said, this time around, we need to make some money. And
So let me ask you this.
Thank you.
Did you even articulate, because you're speaking from a place of trauma, when you say, I don't want to be the woman that has to ask her husband, did you feel comfortable asking him for some money? And just say, keep me $5,000 in the account that I can do what I want to monthly?
Because growing up, like I said, I saw how my stepmom would ask for money.
And see,
so
back
it's a
on
place
trauma.
of trauma, yes.
Yeah, but you didn't even give him an opportunity to show up however you want to show up.
I didn't, because I wanted to also show off, actually. I bought this, I did this, I did that. And I discovered when I was trying to show off, he didn't care. And when he didn't care, I just discovered, come on, for 3 months, this man didn't ask, babe, what do you need? Because you're showing off that you have money. So I had to relax. I had to go meet her. I need some money. I need to keep my money. I need to also build some empires like him.
Bisi, what was you buying? What was you buying to show off with?
I could just decide to change the furniture in the home. I could decide to actually maybe buy a new TV or buy a fridge or something. I could decide to change the room decor.
And you just do that and he'll come home and be like, oh, and keep on going.
Yes, so just keep, oh, nice. I love it. Oh, we need to bring more guests into the house to come, and that's all. And they won't say, oh, how much did you even spend? Let me just give you half of it. So I stopped showing off, and I'm not going to show off again.
Dr. Steve, you didn't care. You didn't care.
He didn't care. So I told myself I have to. Even the home front, I'll just do everything, buy groceries, not asking for a dime for 3 months. And he traveled. Normally I would, oh, babe, my account has not been credited. Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot. But this time around, he forgot. I did not remind him. I was enjoying my life. I was feeling like a big girl. I have my money now. Make him good money. And he's also enjoying himself. But I said, you know what? At this point, and he will say what? Oh, independent housewife. Oh, you're a big girl now.
How you say, Stephen? Independent housewife?
I use that word in most of my videos. That I used to be a dependent housewife. Now I've moved to an independent housewife.
I said I used to be a full-time housewife. Now I'm doing business. I'm making my own money. I said, well, since you're making your own money, I mean,
you're an independent housewife.
Since you're making your own money, it would be good. Let's spend your money.
Isn't that crazy? And I'm glad y'all can laugh about it. What typically happens in situations like this, the people grow apart. Because you'll start saying, I can be independent. He says, I can find joy outside and even see the world. And then he goes he starts living a single life, and you start living an independent single life.
It happened,
and then
actually.
y'all move on. And then what happened?
It happened. There was a time that we're actually going our separate ways in marriage. And
what year was that?
I think that was between 20.
Well, like y'all been married. Is that year 6 of marriage, year 7, year?
It was I think it was about 6-7 years.
Yeah.
Between 2018 and 2019.
Yeah, I think
that was when
the kids, we grew apart because of the kids. Now I'm realizing
not just the kids, the work as well was.
Y'all get to become
the work.
Yeah, but I think the kids started it. Work just added to it, right? Because our attention was more about the kids. Everything was the children. So at
who was that? Her?
Yes.
Yeah. Yes. You were saying you focus on the kids.
Yeah. So at some point I realized we were growing apart. So I had to say, you know what? We need to start doing things together. So we'll start going to watch movies 3 times a week.
Good.
And I realized that we enjoyed the talk while going to watch movie than the movie itself.
Yes.
And that, brought us together back. Now we do work in our estate. We just take a walk, the two of us, at
That's
night.
Good.
And just talk and then.
How long did that season go where you felt that separation, where y'all had to recalibrate and say, hold on?
It was over a year.
Yeah.
It was over a year, yes.
I think we just caught ourselves.
So what happened is, and this is what happened to every couple, and you now fight for a divorce, is that it did not happen. The divorce didn't happen this year. It just started happening gradually, but you did not take notice of that. So it might have started about 3 years ago, 4 years ago, but there was no intentionality on any of the couple to say, there's something happening, there's something wrong. It's maybe you called each other 5 times a day. You started with calling twice, later once, later weeks pass. And you don't call, you don't even want to, you're not bothered whether he calls you or not. You're just doing your thing, he's doing his thing. Then work became more taxing, demanding. for him and for me as well. I could do coaching with my students. I have a coaching program. I've coached over 10,000 people.
10,000?
Yes. And I could do coaching with them till 2 a.m. I had no boundaries. It was just, I just want to satisfy my student. 2 a.m., 3 a.m., 4 a.m. at times I'm coaching. So I
Because you're
did
doing
not
stuff
set,
over the world too, right? So you have to get different time zones. That's why
absolutely
you're doing
different time zones. So I did not set boundaries. So it was affecting me. It was affecting him. It was affecting the kids as well because I couldn't give love because I wasn't love as well. So I was not actually loving my life at that moment. So there was no way.
Let that sit. I need people to get that because that's a beautiful sign of accountability.
Yeah.
Because you rarely hear a mother articulate what you just did. And I don't want that going over people's heads because he talked about how much you prioritize the kids, but you said I couldn't even love them. What looks like love could be prioritization, taking care of them, but you say, I don't know how to give them what wasn't given to me.
Absolutely.
And so I just wanted that to resonate with people because in his mind, he may think, oh, she loves our kids. She's always there for them. But you're articulating, I know how to love these kids. I know how to be there for them. I know how to provide and take care of them. But I don't know how to love them.
Absolutely.
That's powerful. Thank you for sharing that. Continue, please.
Thank you. So for me, I had to now deliberately, it was a deliberate action on my part. So every day I would even eat, I'm sure this is the first time you would hear this, because we'd grown so much apart that I wasn't feeling love for my husband. I can't say I was in love with him anymore. I knew we grew into love, but the love just fizzled out. So every day I'll go to the mirror. I'll call his name. Sometimes it might be in the bathroom, in the kitchen, wherever I am. I would actually call his name and say, I love you.
That's good.
And I love you and you love me and you need me and I need you.
That's good.
Then I set on my alarm. I'll pray for him. I have different time. I think this is the first time I'm saying this. I have different times whereby I, in the day, every day, I just say a word of prayer for him. So my clock would send me that reminder so I can do that. So intentionally, I kept doing this. Then I'll buy a gift for him. Sometimes he'll buy a gift. Then, of course, he introduced the movie, then the walk as well. And sometimes we do vacation alone. Then another thing he was intentional about was he made sure that I take vacation alone. The first time was a big struggle. How can I leave the kids?
Let me tell that story. I have never seen a woman angry with her husband for wanting her to go on vacation alone. It was a big deal for my wife. Like, she was like, I'm not going no vacation. I'm like...
What was the first trip? Where were you trying to send her to?
Dubai.
This was
you did the first visa. I did not go. Do you remember?
Yeah.
The first
I
visa.
even did the visa, got the ticket. She didn't go.
Oh, she didn't go?
She refused.
But now I'll go as many times as possible.
You be like, bye. Like, you ain't supposed to go today. We're supposed to go.
Discover that these kids, they're going to grow up and they're going to leave me behind. There was a time I was traveling. I said, kids, I'm traveling. I was traveling to Dubai. And kids, I'm traveling. Oh, mom, bye. I said, no, I mean, I'm leaving for weeks. You won't see me. Mommy, I know. Take care. We love you. Bye. I said, are you kidding me? So these were the kids I did not want to leave behind years back. Sorry, I had to cut it.
Hey, packing your bags. So I'm like, Mommy, want me to help you?
I was like, I could see you stressed. You need time alone. You need to find yourself. So, I mean, at the second attempt, she finally agreed.
And I enjoyed it.
The first day, she was busy calling us. Are they okay? Their food is here. Their clothes is there.
Yeah.
We are fine. But the fourth day, she didn't want to come back again.
I want to say this to you, Dr. Stephen.
Yeah.
Thank you for loving your queen properly.
Thank you.
As a man, from one man to another, thank you for modeling. Not saying you got everything right, you knew the right words to say, but you're sitting here in a seat of humility, allowing your wife to express. And that was one of her trauma points. Her trauma points growing up was not feeling like a woman had a voice. And you are healing this queen every conversation, being able to stay present, being able to force her out of comfort zone to go take a trip where she doesn't want to, and now allowing her to stretch herself to where now she's saying, I need to go. I need to, because those moments, like pastors do it all the time. They go take sabbaticals for restoration. And the fact that you're able to give, because a lot of men don't have their ego will not allow their wife to go leave. Because they be like, What if on one of these vacations go find her a nice little old foreigner that swoop my wife off her feet? I ain't finna do that. I need somebody to watch her. You know what I'm saying? Oh, no, I'm crazy. I ain't finna just pay for her to go see another dude. You know what I'm saying? But you're so
the man
secure.
is definitely insecure. That's the reason.
Exactly. And the fact that you're so secure that you like, no, you need this, baby. Because if you go and do this, you're going to come back a better version because you'll be restored.
Which
My argument to her is that you can't give what you don't have.
Absolutely.
Teach.
You can't claim you love me if you don't love yourself.
Teach.
You know, you won't even know what love is. You
Yes.
know, what you claim is love is just, you know, not really love. So my argument is you must live your best life. And I say this to everyone watching. You must discover you.
There it is.
You must enjoy you. Is when you love you. Because how did I realize she needed a vacation? Because I went for one. And I enjoyed it. I enjoyed being, you know, able to just, you know, refresh myself. I said, no, my wife needs to taste this too.
Experience this too. I want to say something too before it just falls on deaf ears, BC. I love the fact that you were so intentional on restoring love in your relationship that you scheduled it, that you made sure that you looked yourself in the mirror. And while you were speaking life into your marriage, you were telling the devil, you have no room in my marriage.
Absolutely.
You were saying that. I love my husband. My husband loves me. I'm going to be intentional about being present in my husband's life. I'm going to do this. You're saying all this stuff. What happens is the Bible says life and death are in the power of the tongue, and they that love it eat the fruit thereof. And so we can talk to our homegirls and homeboys, my wife getting on my nerves, my husband this, I think I married the wrong person. You can give life to that, or you can give life to you and God, and the devil on standby listening. I love my husband. I love my husband. He loves me. And you begin to affirm, because remember, your love language is words of affirmation. So you don't have to wait for somebody. Thank you, Holy Spirit. Thank you, Holy Spirit. Thank you, Holy Spirit. Your words are, your love language is words of affirmation. Instead of waiting on your partner to give you what you need, you can speak to yourself. It's an old song that I remember that says, sometimes I have to encourage myself. It's an old song that we used to sing. And so by you're sitting there saying that, you're encouraging yourself and you're speaking to yourself in the greatest way that you see love in your love language. And so that is so powerful. And I thank you, King, for being able to be present and allow her to say that and not be like, hold on, you had to convince yourself that you love that. You had to, hold on now, all this stuff I was doing, I done did this, I done did. That's the first thing men do. Toxic masculinity will try to tell you what I did for you, which invalidates why you feel the way you feel. Think about it. Hold on, how you gonna tell me you had to convince yourself you love me? I done bought you this, I done got you this, I done got this nice house, put you in the best neighborhood in Nigeria, I done did all this, and you have the audacity to convince yourself that you love me? How disrespectful that is? Ego. Instead of allowing you to be present and be like, this is what he did. He said, thank you, because I got my wife. He's watched other people get divorces. He's watched other people lose legacy behind this. He said, baby, whatever you got to do to keep us together, fight the devil, war with the devil. We wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities in high places. The Bible says one can chase away 1,000 demons, but two can set 10,000 demons to flight. So he clapped his hand and said, come on, baby, keep warring. Keep warring. Keep fighting for our legacy. Keep fighting for our kids. Keep fighting for our marriage. If y'all want to give an offering, y'all can send an offering to me.
I think
Pastor.
we're ready in the studio to just give an offering.
I agree here at this point.
Man, y'all bless my soul right now. Y'all bless my soul, because a lot of times people see y'all and they see the money, they see the success, they see the businesses, and we ain't spent too much conversation talking about that. Because what truly matters is that none of this would have existed had this not existed.
Absolutely.
Because y'all are purpose partners. You said it best at the very beginning. You said, I had to think about the woman that I need in order to build what I need to build with. That's not going to be a headache. That's not going to be stressing, talking about, oh, Lord. Like I even asked, I said, that didn't bother you that he was seeing, flying around the world? She's like, no, I didn't care. Oh, be with a different woman. Oh, be with a different woman, and you get on a flight without her and see what happens. See if you come back and you got access to your house. Like, where's my key? I know this the key to my house. What happened? She gone. Or you come home and the whole house empty. And you like, where is my wife? You're talking about, oh, no, you wasn't worried about me when you flew off to Dubai, did you? I'm gone. And I'm taking half. So you have all that type of stuff, but God gave you the right woman. That's the reason why I'm so encouraged, is because you didn't have nothing. This is not a tale of somebody that, he had all this money and everybody was in agreement. Because a lot of times we think that if God is a part of it, every man has to be in agreement.
Yes.
That man has to be. Now, if it's God, now your daddy would have been okay with it.
Sure.
Yo, so-and-so would have been okay with it. What if it's God and he don't need nobody permission?
I mean, my argument is that God stopped forcing, people together from Adam and Eve.
There it is.
Because, Adam practically accused God of forcing Eve on him. He said, the woman you gave me.
Absolutely.
Right? So my argument is, if you're still waiting on God's voice and say, my son or my daughter, that's your husband, go chase him. I'm not sure he want to get into your business.
No.
But whether or not, whatever you have, you can make it work.
Yes.
You can make it work. You can come together and that's the story. And that's why oftentimes both of us restrain on too much relationship conversation, because no relationship is the same.
Right.
And no one template, work across board.
Absolutely.
But one thing I know, if the two of you are hungry, committed to make your marriage work, it will work.
Absolutely.
It's all about the two of you.
Absolutely.
Nobody else. You and God. The two of you and God, it will work. We spend too much energy, too much attention what somebody is saying, what my in-laws are saying, or my cousins are saying, what they said about you, what this person said about you. Imagine, had Dad even literally asked her, somebody said, tell me the marriage you've ever seen that worked.
Absolutely.
You're just so crazy about wanting to marry this guy. Give me one marriage that worked.
He didn't think of his own marriage?
Of course.
Oh, it didn't work either?
He admitted that his own was struggling. But give me one. Why are you so crazy about, I want to get married?
That's deep.
But she was convinced that, and I give her a lot of kudos for that level of conviction.
Yes.
And I'm happy that at least the best I could, I've helped to make you worth it to the best I could.
Yeah.
I'm not perfect, but, to the best I could. And I think that's very important. Once the two of you agree, and I say this often, never marry people who are not ready to fight to keep in their life. Don't do it.
That part.
Don't do it.
That part.
Don't do it.
He did fight a whole lot for me, actually. You fought several people. I think that also built my confidence a whole lot in also defending him, because if he can fight for me, why am I not to fight for my spouse?
You better teach.
So you did fight a lot for this marriage as well. So you did a whole lot of work. So thank you as well for ensuring that we build a beautiful home, and we're still building a beautiful home. Thank you.
Let me ask you this, Dr. Stephen, as we wrap up. Have you balanced yourself out a little bit more of being a workaholic? Since that was one of her initial triggers?
He has tried, actually.
Yeah, he's tried.
Yes.
My method now is called integration.
Okay.
Yeah, integration. So this trip, for example, out of Houston to Dallas, I had 2 assignments. I had this 7,000 acres, I'm checking I want to buy.
You said 7,000 acres?
Yes.
Of what? What you about to build out there?
Of land. It's a farmland. I call it land banking. So, and it's down this way. And so...
First of all, you're not going to just throw out no numbers like that, like we talking about. You said 7,000 acres?
Yes. So I'm buying 2,000 out of the 7,000. So
you land bank, you're not going to develop it. You're just going to hold it.
We're going to live for another 5 years, and then, it's one of the powerful ways to build wealth here in America.
Of course.
Globally, actually, not just in America. So I have that business. I have this podcast, so, hey, why not come together, all of us, the kids, and it's become like a road trip, We stay in a very beautiful resort somewhere, burned, but beautiful. We had a great time. We're here.
What city is that? What city is that land in?
And Kaufman.
Oh, in Kaufman.
Yes.
That's a good city. Yeah.
It's a place in Kaufman, beautiful by the lake.
Situated on 500 acres of land.
Yeah.
You said what's 500?
500. I mean, the property is sitting on the 500 acres of land.
Are you talking about where y'all staying at, the resort?
Yes.
The resort.
Yes.
Are you finna buy that resort?
Yeah, it's a place like that, it's 19 burn or something. Beautiful on the 500 acre.
So you went to stay there originally and then decide to buy it?
No. Well, I'm just saying integration.
Integrating marriage and
I have
work.
this podcast. I had to go check that property.
Right.
Now we had to stay at a resort together.
Okay.
Last night we did a road trip down.
Okay.
Went to check that very early this morning. You see the integration, right?
Yeah, you bringing the kids with you and just saying we're going to spend some quality time together.
Exactly. So I try to do that now more,
But during the vacation, it ensures there's always a trip we actually do have together, because he knows he's not always around. Even when he's back home, he doesn't really have much time to spend in the home. But vacations like this, we get to spend time together. They get to talk together. They get to gist and ask questions. And sometimes, because I have a boy who actually just is becoming a teenager now, when he has questions related to that, talk to your dad. I'm not a man. Talk to him. He has answers to all these things. I've never experienced stuff like
all
this
the stuff
before.
that this young boy is experiencing.
So it makes them kind of bond together.
Yeah.
Oh, daddy, this is what I'm feeling. This is what, in my time, you dare not talk to your father about these things. You sort it out.
Which is a trip, isn't it? It's like we expect the kids to learn masculinity, but the father never even talked to him about it. He had to figure it out from his homeboys, and he learned the wrong way of doing everything.
Absolutely. So intentionally, I would.
For me, integration is what I've had to do, and I'm getting there.
Work, business, family.
Yeah, I integrate everything. We just get them involved in everything. And I think it's important, because one of the things I've also seen is situation whereby people build wealth, but they never involve their family. They never involve their kids. The kids don't know. Yesterday, we had the property in Houston, 99 acres. We needed to do the survey. The surveyor was on site. I just ran there with my daughter. I said, okay, so you help me take pictures while I'm doing this. So they're getting to see what their father is doing. They're getting to see, how he makes the money, how he's able to afford the lifestyle they have. And gradually they can grow up to understand entrepreneurship, to understand business. So integration is my strategy. Again, it may not work for some of you, but that's what I'm working on.
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
Yeah.
I was told you wrote over 40 books, and so I told you to go grab some books so we can put them out here.
Yeah.
How do you have time to write all these books?
So I have a formula around it. I have a very beautiful team around me. So we do more videos. So they interview me, and then we then transcribe the videos and then turn it to book. That way we have the video version, we have the audio version, and we have the text version. Yes. So that has really worked, in a great way.
So if it's a book that you said, y'all got to go grab this book, which book would that be?
Billionaire Habits.
I agree.
Say it, which one is it?
Billionaire Habits.
The one here.
This one right here?
Yes, Billionaire Habits.
That's what I just grabbed. That's what I grabbed. The secrets billionaires use to build wealth that the poor don't use.
It's powerful. I had to pay to buy the book myself.
Why you have to pay?
Because I want to read it. I know if I don't pay for it, I might not read it, because it's from my husband, and I don't want to not to pay not to read it. So I had to pay so I can read it.
So you know yourself that if you got it for free, you wouldn't read it.
No.
And you said you had to pay so you can invest in it, which
absolutely.
is
and I
so
enjoyed
you can invest in yourself. All right. Well, forget asking Dr. Stephen. Let me ask you, what makes this book so powerful? Oh no, not him. You the reader, Bisi.
Okay. So there are a lot of secrets that was shared in that book. Starting from how he started and the power of mentors as well. Let me pick the power of mentors, the power of mentorship rather. So he spoke intensively in that book how you can connect to mentors. A lot of people want rich people, wealthy people around their life. All they want is they want to collect. They don't want to give. Yeah. Because they have this mindset that the rich doesn't need anything. Yeah. But I am the one that needs something. Yeah. Forgetting that the rich also need something. And before you can collect, you have to be a giver. Yeah. So he explained that extensively in the book. And actually picking that also, I know he has spoken about it, but when I read it again, I picked The Power of Mentorship in the book. I had to replicate some of the things he said he's doing. And when I meet someone ahead of me in life, someone who is a superior, someone who is a billionaire, someone who is more wealthy than myself, I go with gifts. And the gifts are not expensive gifts. And that's what people need to understand, is the thoughtfulness of you can actually come to me and come with a gift. Makes them want to have you more in the circle. And a lot of billionaires do not want younger people in their circle because they know they're after what they want to get. Some it could be your service that you can give to them even if you don't have physical money. He spoke about when he didn't have money, how he was able to connect with people by his service. He could just go there and help anchor their events, help put their programs together because he knows how to organize programs. And then he wasn't even doing major events, major programs. And I'm not surprised that he's doing that today because he has been doing that even for years, just smaller ones. And he would go to this big event, not complain about things that were not working, but go there and say, oh, how can I add to you positively? And all of these things which I picked from it, I said to myself, if it did work for him, it can definitely work for me.
Yeah.
And I implemented these things. And when I see people, genuinely, I want to contribute to their life, not be a collector. And I discovered that in as much as I go into the relationship, not for the purpose of what I want to get. So that is another mistake he mentioned that most people make. They go into a relationship with what they want to get. No, go into the relationship with what you want to give. I want to be an addition, not a subtraction. And of course, along the way, the relationship will lead to profit. It might lead to profit in a way you don't even imagine. Some might not lead to profit with that particular individual. It might just be their referrer that can lead to profit for you because other people trust them.
Yes.
They would, of course, trust to do business with you. So that's just one I'll pick out of so many that was shared in the book.
Well, Dr. Stephen, I don't think you could have did a better job. Good Lord. She done broke that thing down. I didn't even take a breath.
Nobody markets me better than my wife. She's good at that. And
because, one of the things about him as well, which I decided to embed, a lot of people become so familiar with their spouse or with the people around their lives that they don't benefit out of the blessings. Now, look at the pastors. Look at the cleaners in their houses, in their offices, their drivers. They're going through issues. They're going through a lot of pain. But these people, most of them, 99% of them will never be a beneficiary of the anointing they carry because they've been so used to those individuals and they just, it's not just pastor, it's not just this individual. I do not want my life to be the same way. I said to myself, I will not take his anointing for granted. I want to also convert and get what he has, have an auction. It might not be everything, but at least have a bit. And the way I can do that is not be too familiar with his anointing such that my blessing will depart from me. So when he teaches, sometimes his videos, I can stay glued to his videos, watch him over and over for 4 hours. There was a time I was speaking and I was training, and he was training on what actually I am more vast in. And I say when he's done with the training, more people will feel like, oh, he did fantastically well. And I'm like, I know this better than this man. So why am I not doing this better? So I had to study his videos. I had to learn from him, watch his Facebook Live, watch his YouTube videos. I could watch it 4 hours every day for some time. I think I did that for almost a year. And there was a time I'll hear my staff say to me, you're speaking like Dr. Stephen. I said, no, I'm not speaking. I'm speaking like, say, no, ma, the way you just spoke, you spoke like Dr. Stephen. And why? Because I've studied him.
Yes.
I did not joke with the fact that I'm his spouse. So what is he even teaching? I don't have anything to learn from him.
Yeah.
So I did not joke with his anointing. I did not become so familiar with who he is that I lose learning and getting better in life and business.
If you continue like this, I will have to marry me.
He's gonna marry you. Y'all gonna have another kid.
I have to look for me and say. Because sometimes when my wife talk about me, I'm like, "What are you talking about?
Like, who is that you talking about?
This is good. This guy.
Introduce me to him. Introduce me to him.
But he's a great man. He's a great man, and he has really empowered so many people, and he's still empowering me. I'm still his mentee. I've not overgrown that.
And see, I just came into the knowledge of you. It was some video. Somebody sent something to me, and I was like, "Well, who is this guy?" And I looked. I was like, "He has almost 1 million followers." I said, "Well, who is this guy? What is he talking about?" But I couldn't find anything relationship wise, and so I said, "No, it's a story here." And so when I first started talking to your publicist, was that you? I was emailing back and forth. Yeah, and she was like, "Well, his wife won't be present." I was like, "I want the wife." I said, "I don't want him coming by himself. I want his wife because I know as a man you cannot get to where you are without her." So he's cute. True. I can talk to him. He's amazing. He's dope. I said, but what I want from him is not this. I don't want the business from you. I want this marriage. Wow. I want the gems that you've learned that you can pour into me. That y'all, and I know I need her to be able to speak from her vantage point, so I know how to care for my future wife properly. So I know my blind spots and say, all right, make sure that I continue to affirm her. Make sure I say this. Find out her love language. Make sure that I meet her not the way I want to give love, but the way she receives love. Oh, I'm watching this king. I see how he's moving. I see how he cultivated this relationship. I see how he prioritized his own emotions and said, listen, I got to go make sure that I'm happy too. I got to go see the world and whatever. But then you're humble enough to recalibrate and say, hold on, let's stop. Let's take walks. Let's take intentional walks and figure out how to make sure that the main thing stays the main thing. The way that you chose her is the way that I vet. I look at my future wifey as a scout, like a coach for a football team. He says, listen, I want to take the Cowboys to the Super Bowl 2 years from now. Wow. I'm going to get this running back, because that's a weak part that we have. If that was the Cowboys had, I'm going to get this running back, and we ain't going to make it year 1, but year 2, we're going to be ready, because I need them to gel together. We're going to work through some kinks. I just hired a new wide receiver that's been here for 2 years. He's finding his groove, so now I got to find it. And they look at their team as making sure that everything is moving swiftly in order to reach the goal. If you don't date with that same mentality and understand marriage, that's why you're going to be going from marriage 1 to marriage 2 to marriage 3, because you're not learning anything. You're not looking at your own self, your own pain points, your own blind spots, and saying, what do I need in order to cultivate the best version of me? And what does she need in order to extract the best version of me? So she can be, like she said this, and this resonated with me. She said when she looked at marriages, she couldn't see women that the husband empowered them to fly. True. That was her terminology, to be able to fly. And it's like saying, so what it looked like to her is that all these beautiful women had clipped wings. That whatever marriage did for them, it was an anchor that didn't allow them to fly. Minus the abuse part that she witnessed. But she's saying just they wasn't being cultivated, as Miles Monroe talks about, to be able to cultivate your wife. She said, that's not appealing to me. I can do bad all by myself. I don't need no man weighing me down. I want to be able to soar, and I want to fly, and I can do that on my own. That's a lot of pain points that a lot of women have. And a lot of women nowadays, especially African-American women, are out earning the male counterparts. So they don't see a value in marriage. A lot of women is like, what's that? I talked to this one woman from Dubai, met her years ago when I was shooting this thing for the Protocol School of Washington. And she said, marriage is just a headache.
Wow.
She said, I've seen people get married, and she's been married before. And she said, what's the use of getting married if it's a headache? If the man ain't gonna honor you, ain't gonna value you, ain't gonna treat you right, ain't gonna respect you, why get married? She said, marriage, the only thing that a woman can benefit from marriage is having kids, because she can't do that on her own. That's it. So she said, other than that, her experience, her trauma, because her heart was mismanaged by a guy before, that's how she views it. And so even though your wife, Bisi, wasn't directly impacted by it, well, by way of her mother and father, whatever, but she didn't experience herself from a divorce, she had the same ideology. I watched this video, and I'm gonna wrap up. It was this video where they did this experiment of rats, and they had these rats in the cage, and they opened up the cage, and every time the rats got ready to run out, it'll shock them, and they'll go back. And they'll try it again, to shock them. And then it got to a point to where they can leave the cage open and they wouldn't even run out. The experiment went on where the babies of those rats they get put in the cage, never even have to shock them at all, keep the door open, and the rats were, based on trauma, would never even try to leave.
Wow.
That's what Bisi was. She, based on the trauma that she experienced, she said, I don't even want marriage.
Yes.
But she had to break that generational curse in her mind and say, I'm going to go here, God, teach me to love this man, teach me to do this. And that's where God began to heal. And so your kids, guess what they see? Your kids are seeing a loving family. They're seeing, daddy, you're handsome, mommy, you're beautiful, this. Where you, King, wasn't like that. You wasn't running around talking about you handsome, you this, you beautiful. You couldn't say it to your own wife. But your offspring are. They say it easily. So now that they'll grow up and they'll be like, when y'all talk to your son-in-laws and daughter-in-laws, they'll be like, man, this most loving, they just love me, just always compliment me. Where did they get that from? They just so complimentary. You be like, my wife taught them like that. Taught me even be better. You know what I'm saying? It's like, that's what happens. We can heal generational curses because of that. What we end up doing in the Black community is having a generation of generational trauma instead of generational healing. And we talk about generational wealth, but I don't care how rich you become. If you're if your kids are traumatized, then they just got more money to spend on therapy.
True. Absolutely. I mean, you've said a lot of great stuff. I mean, I don't know whether I could mention this. We have this annual conference we do. And this year we're bringing a couple, because I'm focusing the conference on people of color. Damien John will be coming as well as other great speakers. But
when is it and where?
Houston, JW Marriott Galleria on the 22nd and 21st September.
Oh, next month?
Yes, next month.
I was about to invite myself and have y'all book me, but I was already booked. I was going to book myself.
I mean, we'd love to have you if you're not having.
I would be in Atlanta doing a podcast with Jamal Bryant.
Wow. Yeah. And
because I love stuff like that.
We're bringing this couple, I mean, they're Indian family, and to share their story. I mean, they have they've acquired over 12,000 acres of property.
Wow.
Running to hundreds of millions of dollars. And their kids are doing so well because somehow
12,000.
Somehow there is.
You be saying these numbers like it.
Somehow there is a mindset we have, particularly people of color, that if you make it, your marriage is gonna be in shit.
Yeah.
If you have so much money, something else is gonna go bad.
Yeah.
And we need to begin to show people that you can have a great marriage, you can have a great home, and you can build great empire. And you can have wonderful children who are sane, who are sound.
Yes.
And we need to begin to come for, meetings like that where we can meet people whose life is an example of what we're talking about.
Good.
Absolutely.
Thank y'all so much for sharing this.
Thank you.
Thank y'all for being transparent, vulnerable. I know how unconventional this is for Nigerians to be this open. I'm telling you, I ain't crazy.
Very unconventional.
You don't hear people from your country sitting up here talking about it, and their wives get to say all this stuff, and you feeling like that can be quote unquote deemed as disrespectful and all that stuff, because honor is really big. And I thank you for modeling that. I thank you for modeling what healthy masculinity looks like. And I thank you for modeling what healthy femininity looks like, where your voice can be heard but not be disrespectful.
Absolutely.
That you can dishonor. And you said something so key that I want to just say and echo. You said that what we have going on in our home, I'm not going to uncover my spouse to even family members or let them know, because you could oversee or forgive your spouse for something that they 10 years, they still holding on to me. I can't believe he had you with a baby, ain't got no food. You like, we rich now. But I'm saying back in the day, you be like, what are you bringing up? That was 8 years ago, what you talking about? And you like, we over that. I don't know. I still don't trust him. It'd be crazy stuff like that. And people be inviting that foolishness into their marriage. And now y'all got problems because he's saying, why do your cousin look at me like that? Why'd you treat me like that? What you talking about? I don't know, that's just how she is. You know what I'm saying? No, you done told her some stuff about him, and now she looking at him side-eyed and all that. It's crazy. So thank you for being an example of what that looks like to cover your husband properly.
Thank you for having us.
Absolutely.
We've had a great time.
Amazing time.
And it's the first for us, I think this is good.
And I'm going to tell you what typically happens on Dear Future Wifey Podcast. Those things that a person will end up saying stuff they've never said before. Like she was like, it's the first time you're hearing this, but that's what it is. Yeah. But it's a safe space. Yeah. And that's what I try to cultivate is a safe space. And what I was telling you earlier is I want y'all to show sides of y'all that no one has seen.
True.
And that was definitely accomplished.
Absolutely.
And you brought that out.
I've got
you have this gift of just, bringing it out.
You did actually.
We've had a great time.
I'm scared to talk at first. Now she in the conversation. She's talking. I told you what's going to happen. She's shy. She's not going to talk. I said, watch what happens. Hey, make sure y'all go support. How can we support y'all?
I mean,
got your book. We're gonna get your book.
The conference is important because it's hybrid. You can join from anywhere in the world or come physically to Houston.
And how they find that out? Website? What's www.stevenakintayo.com/GWF-USA. It's called the Global Wealth Festival. And there's going to be a link in the description. I'm going to have the link to it in the description.
It will be a great time. I'm big now. My goal now is to see people of color build stuff. I have a quote that says, we cannot end racism until we end poverty among Black people. Right. Because I have, because of my business, I have different people work for me, white, Black, Hispanic, Asian. I'm yet to see one of them that is racist to me. He's going to lose his job.
Exactly.
Right? So, and if we're serious about building wealth and ending all this nonsense, we need to teach our people how to legitimately build wealth.
I love it.
Yeah.
Queen, what would you like to say? How can we support you?
Okay, for me, I would just say that just build a successful home, and when you are building wealth alongside, don't just build wealth, build a successful home as well. So you can follow me on my social platforms, Bisi Akintayo, and I don't bring my family, talk about a lot of family matters or counseling. But you can just follow me to learn about business tips. I give business tips. That's what I do basically. So you can just follow me. Bisi Akintayo is the name across all my social media platforms.
Y'all give it up for the Akintayos, y'all. Thank y'all so much.
Thank you for having me.
Stay tuned to the end for a letter to my future wifey.
Been writing these love letters to you. Ladarian thrusted suddenly into Child Protective Services in 2015. My nephew, Black, a boy. The likelihood of being adopted outside of kinship, slim to none. Armani, 16 years old, Black, a boy, with 5 years in the foster care system before I even knew his name. The likelihood of ever being adopted, yep, you guessed it, slim to none. While Ladarian and Armani were trying to survive and barely thrive in an overpopulated and underfunded foster care system, I was living my own life, doing well professionally. Having been a single father with a daughter who at that point was doing well in college, it was my time to live my life, right? Wrong. I felt unsettled, tireless, agitated. There are just too many of our Black children stuck in ambiguity and in the limbo of the foster care system. In 2017, I legally adopted my nephew, Ladarian. Fast forward to 2019, I had no ties to this other young king, but I felt God instructed me to adopt him also, and I obeyed. Starting over with parenting should have been enough, right? Working with various foster care and adoption agencies to help bring awareness to the countless young Black kings in the foster care system should have decreased my agitation, right? Joining the board of directors of Advantage Adoption, an organization that helps find permanent adoptive homes for children in foster care, should have led to some type of resolve, right? No, not at all. None of it felt like I had done enough. I now realize that every one of those experiences was laying the fundamental foundation for my life's mission, Kingdom Royale. Kingdom Royale will be a luxury, state-of-the-art home for foster boys. Our first location will be in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex. We will utilize the whole person approach that instills identity, empowers them to advocate for themselves, and enlightens them regarding new perspectives and limitless options that they thought were impossible. Though the young kings will attend the local public schools that are in proximity to Kingdom Royale, our at-home curriculum will broaden their worldview through participating in the arts, attending various cultural events, learning about and engaging in multifaceted discussions about current events and even relevant historical context, introducing them to gardening and landscaping and even caring for our animals on our farm and on-site stables. We just launched our Startup Capital campaign with the goal of raising $2.8 million. Now, why $2.8 million? Well, in 2017, I created a web series in which I performed random acts of kindness for targeting the homeless community. One of the most notable successes was that one of the videos went viral, garnering 28 million views. However, one of my biggest regrets is that I didn't raise a single dollar to help in implementing a more sustainable plan for the homeless community. So throughout the years, with much remorse, I reflected on not maximizing that moment. I knew if at that time, just 10% of the viewers donated $1, we would have raised at least $2.8 million that could have really established long-term support for the homeless community, or at least started a long-term initiative to do so. This is my do-over. This is our new beginning. Together, we can attack this at the root by specifically helping our homeless Black boys who are already disproportionately represented in the American foster care system. I'm Laterra Whitfield. I've been nominated for 3 regional Emmys documenting my work with the homeless as well as my personal adoption journey. Despite those accolades, the greatest award for me is truly providing the infrastructure for a transformed life. Visit kingdomroyale.com for more details. Crown a king and make a donation today. Man, listen, I really enjoyed that episode. I hope y'all found a lot of value in it. I love talking to people from other cultures to hear their vantage point, their thought processes, their culture as it relates to love. Well, here's my favorite part of the podcast where I speak to my future wifey. Dear future wifey, covering each other spiritually is the foundation of the covenant I desire with you. I want us to be prayer partners, lifting each other up before God daily, seeking his guidance and protection. Together, we'll meditate on the scripture, letting it shape our hearts and strengthen our bond. Our spiritual connection will be the wellspring of strength that sustains us through life challenges. Relationally, I'm committed to being your safe place, the one who covers you with love, respect, and understanding. I want to communicate openly and honestly, building our relationship on trust and transparency. In moments of weakness or doubt, I'll be your encourager, reminding you of the greatness within you and the promises God has for your life. As partners, we'll protect each other's hearts, safeguarding them as the precious gifts they are. We'll honor our differences and embrace the unity that makes us stronger together. My prayer is that our relationship will reflect Christ's love, selfless, sacrificial, and unconditional, serving as a testament to others of what it means to truly cover one another. Your future hubby.
I hope you enjoyed this episode of the Dear Future Wifey Podcast. Remember, be lit, live intentionally and transparently, and don't stop loving. Make sure to subscribe to our Dear Future Wifey YouTube channel. We're available on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, and Stitcher.